Happy. Hello, my relatives. Yeah. It's me, Two Eagles, again, coming to talk to you about the Annihilator from Indian.Maid.Products versus the current VNS system. And today, I'm going to talk to you about costs and pros and cons. The first comparison we're going to make is the Annihilator. Costs $50 shipped versus the current VNS system, which costs at least $40,000 and has to be and needs surgery. It requires surgery. Ours does not. So, there you go. How about that? Think about that. So if there's a technology like ours that can give you at least a test of whether or not this particular kind of treatment might work for you for $50 compared to $40,000 with no guarantees on either of them, I would think you'd be running out to try the $50 unit. The Annihilator requires no surgery. The current VNS system requires surgery in order to put it in. Where there's no surgery, there's no risk of infection, so there's no risk of a cost to combat infection or the accompanying patient misery. There's no risk of rejection with the Annihilator, but there is a risk of rejection, which is an allergic reaction, with the VNS system currently in use, with its accompanying misery for the patient. The Annihilator has minimal danger to the patient. If you perceive a problem, you simply take it off. There's a much higher danger to the patient with the VNS system because you can't just take it off. It has to be surgically removed. And the surgeon has to have special training to put it in. So I don't suppose just any surgeon would remove it if there were a problem. With the Annihilator, no anesthesia is required. With the VNS system, even though the implant is done under general anesthesia and they call this an outpatient procedure, there are patients such as I who have an allergy to modern inhalation anesthetics called malignant hyperthermia. If or when this allergic reaction occurs, the patient goes from fine to dead in about 5 seconds. Western medicine has compounds to combat the allergic reaction, but there's no guarantee they will work as needed, when needed. And some patients, such as I, are allergic to those anti-allergy compounds too. What a catch-22. And some patients must stay in the hospital overnight for observation after the implant, further increasing the cost for our current VNS system. If they have to remove the VNS implant, it requires another $40,000 or more surgery and more general anesthetic. The Annihilator doesn't have this problem. If you want the current VNS system, there are many appointments needed before and after the implant of the VNS unit. There's no such thing with the Annihilator. The Annihilator has no lab work requirements, so there are no lab work costs. The VNS system has considerable lab work required with considerable additional costs. There is no risk of increased sleep apnea with the Annihilator because it is removed before you go to sleep. With the VNS system, there is a risk of increased sleep apnea, and it can be life-threatening in any case. With the Annihilator, there are no scars because there's no surgery. With the VNS system, there are scars with every surgery. There are 2 scars with the first one, and there are probably 2 with every one after that, except when they have to replace the battery. I'll talk about that in a minute. There's no healing time required before activation with the Annihilator. You simply apply it and turn it on. With the VNS system, you have to wait another 2 weeks for healing time before you can go in for an appointment with the surgeon, who then activates and adjusts your unit. There is no adjustment of the Annihilator. It's a preset system. Annihilators operate at 20 to 24 hertz with a square wave pulse. So it has more punch, more impact. Of the last 3,000 units we've sent out, I think we've had 3, which is 0.1%, that operated at 24 hertz. The others were all at 20 hertz. That's pretty reliable. The current VNS requires adjustment, and though it operates on a pulse system and probably, I'm guessing, on a square wave pulse, it's got to be done by the surgeon who put it in. The Annihilator has a solid history of success in relief of pain and stiffness. The VNS system has not much been studied for relief of pain, stiffness, and whole body inflammation so far, but the research that has been done indicates that it does work on it. The circuitry of both units was developed by engineers, so it is reliable and precise for both systems. Anytime you do surgery or implant anything in a human being, the law requires considerable study ahead of time, and that requires considerable reproducibility or precision. The Annihilator does require some accessory costs, about $5 per month at most, for paper adhesive tape and a 9-volt alkaline battery. The VNS requires a special magnet for activation, not just any magnet, and there is a considerable cost to replace it if you lose it or if it gets damaged. You cannot wear the Annihilator in the shower or the bath or when swimming. It's electronic, it's not sealed, you need to keep it dry. Same as your phone or your radio or who else, what else. The VNS doesn't have this problem. It is sealed because it is in the body and exposed to the fluids of between your tissues. I said you have to replace the alkaline battery every 4 to 6 weeks, every month to month and a half. But there's no surgery required. If you go to replace the lithium battery on the VNS unit, the average time to replace is about 5 years. And it requires another surgery. At what cost? If the first one was $40,000, and prices seldom, if ever, go down on such things, what will it cost to replace your battery? With the Annihilator, you have to replace the adhesive tape every day. You don't have to replace adhesive tape, except maybe when your scars are healing after the implant is made with the VNS system. With ours, there is the possibility of skin sensitivity developing from the adhesive tape, but it's easy to deal with. Change the kind of tape you use. It's why we recommend paper adhesive tape. And when you take it off at night, put some coconut oil on your skin. I have not yet had a problem, and I have allergies. There is the possibility of some minor discomfort from pulling the tape. You don't have that with the VNS unit, but it's so minor I don't think it really counts. If a man has a long or bushy beard, this might interfere with the tape's ability to hold the terminal in place, and then that would necessitate trimming the beard or changing the beard in some way. Again, this is cosmetic and it's minor. In order for the Annihilator to work for VNS, you have to put that terminal exactly where it belongs. You can't stick it over here, down here, up here. It has to go in the exact spot, and you can find that easily. But with a VNS system, it requires special training by the surgeon, or for the surgeon, to put the wires at the exact right spot around your vagus nerve inside your neck. There is no patient discomfort when using the Annihilator. Some patients have considerable discomfort from the implant of the VNS unit. The Annihilator does not interfere with MRI and similar treatments because you remove it first and replace it after. But a VNS unit cannot be removed. And so you cannot have diathermy or MRI and similar treatments if you have a VNS system, vagal nerve stimulation system, inserted in you. If your battery goes bad, patients have reported considerable pain. If the battery goes bad on the Annihilator, we've had no such thing. If anything, they said, I suddenly noticed it wasn't working because I looked at the flashing little red light. There's no flashing little red light on your VNS unit. There's no way to tell your battery is good or bad except by your symptoms changing. If you have the VNS system and you go to the emergency room with a problem, a surgeon with special training must be called in to handle it. It can't just be whoever's on duty. And this might require another surgery. Again, at what cost and how quickly can the surgeon with the special training be reached? Not every surgeon has this training. Neither has a guarantee of success, not the Annihilator and not the VNS system. But the dollar investment for the Annihilator at $50 shipped versus $40,000 for the VNS system means the Annihilator costs about 1/800th of what the VNS system costs. The Annihilator comes with a 1-year warranty against defects in materials and manufacture. And Indian.Maid.Products Incorporated cannot be responsible for your use or your results, of course. I don't know if there is any warranty attached to the current VNS system. But with the VNS system, the price of $40,000 or more, insurance doesn't usually cover all of that. It's exceptional insurance that does. Almost anybody can handle $50. $40,000 or more is a year's income for many people and many families. If the implant doesn't work as needed, none of the costs associated with putting it in or taking it out are refunded to the patient. It's about a $40,000 gamble, maybe more. Now there are some pros to the VNS implant. It has more data available for treating certain conditions because the law requires considerable study before any system requiring surgical implant can be used in humans. So as a result, the current VNS system has the confidence of the medical community from a history of investigation by its own members and their published results. It can be worn when swimming in the bath or the shower because it's not removable. It's inside your body, and yes, it is, at least in theory, sealed. And I don't know if the seal has ever broken on one of them. I found no data. It is invisible in use, whereas with the Annihilator, you will see a thing on your neck with some tape. But this could be a negative if the patient collapses, is unconscious, sick, injured, and medical personnel don't know that the patient has a VNS unit implanted, even if the user has medic alert. Chains get broken, wallets and wallet cards get lost. This could be a real hassle, especially if they gave the patient a computerized scan such as an MRI. So thank you for listening. As usual, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear them. Doksha Akya. Until later.